I can't tell you how many times I've debated turning real life, pretending like real life was a Grand Theft Auto video game. I mean, just hitting the gas and rolling over one of these arrogant, no good sons of bitches who believe that just because they walk out in the street, everybody has to stop. Now, of course, based on the rules and regulations, I'm supposed to stop for pedestrians. And so I do. I'm just telling you what I had been thinking this particular day. And I want to say this to you listening to this story. Just because the rules and regulations say that we should not hit pedestrians does not mean that you should assume that you will not get hit by a car. And it definitely does not mean that you walk out into the middle of the street while the light is green and act as if you have nowhere to go. Now, as you can tell, I'm pretty upset about this. And the reason why I'm so upset about it is because I'm driving my vehicle one day, the light is green, I'm going about 50 miles an hour, and this lady just walks out into the road looking down at her cell phone. She does not look left, she does not look right, she has no concern for her well-being, and I have to slam on the brakes. But mind you, the light is green. So the person behind me slams on their brakes and slides, slamming into me. This woman who was on the cell phone, who did not bother to look left nor look right, heard it all. She wasn't injured, wasn't hurt at all, just looked in our direction and kept on walking. But she was the reason for the entire accident. Stop right here, pause, and let me say this. Well, frankly, I am venting about the situation. I tell you all of this because what happened next was absolutely terrifying. And I don't know if it was a lesson from God, or if it was something satanic, or if it was something demonic, but what happened to me next was pure and utter nightmare fuel. Fast forward a month later. My boss on my job wants me to go to a meeting in place of him. Now, I knew why he didn't want to go to this meeting, because it was in this small little bitty town with this construction company called Wells Construction. Wells had signed on with us recently to be a subcontractor. And I had worked with a few of the guys from Wells. They seemed to be okay people. However, the CEO of the company had this thing about leaving his small town. So whenever you wanted to talk to him, it was either on the phone, but if you needed to get him to sign paperwork, he refused to leave that little hillbilly town. So my boss, not wanting to travel, decides that he's going to send me down to this little bitty town to deal with this situation. Fast forward, it's a 2.5 hour ride to get to this location. I leave my house at 4:30 a.m. I have to be there for 7 a.m. In case I didn't explain this all to you, to get to that location, you got to go through a whole bunch of back roads in small towns. So I'm heading through one of those little small towns. It's 5 a.m. The sun has not come up yet, and the light turns red. I'm sitting there at the red light. No motion, nobody's moving, nothing's going on, when in front of me appears a man in the road. And I want to stress to you, he appears in the road. Just like some kind of freaking genie, popped up out of nowhere. He's right there in front of me, and now he starts to walk towards my vehicle. The weirdest thing about this situation is, you can clearly tell he's a man. He has a flannel shirt on. His face is shimmering and glistening, almost as if he has a glamour on top of his face. Everything else looks normal. It's a white guy, but his face is shimmering and glistening. Now, when someone normally approaches your vehicle, they go to the right-hand side or the left-hand side, the driver's side or the passenger side. But he is walking directly at my vehicle like he's going to walk through my car. Imagine a scene. I am sitting there absolutely terrified because he just manifested out of nowhere and he's walking towards me. And I'm saying to myself, okay, Teddy, I don't know how we got ourselves in this situation, but we got two options right here. We can back up and back away from this person, or we can roll over him. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. We in the middle of nowhere. I think I'm just going to roll him over. So I hit the gas. And when I tell you what happens next was the freakiest shit that has ever happened to me in my entire life, I hit the gas. The engine goes brrr, and I drive through him. And what I mean by drive through him, I mean his body comes into my vehicle, literally through the metal, through the windshield, and he looks at me with this shimmering, glistening face as he goes through my shoulder, through the back seat, and out of the back window. Looking through the rearview mirror, he is standing there and he's turned around looking at me. Now, I know if you listen to the story, you're probably saying, man, this is the biggest load of bullshit I ever heard. I agree with you 100%. It was some bullshit that I experienced at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I've never experienced anything else like it since.